We're at the Beebout Veterinary Medical Center, and I'm with Dr. Brandon Beebout and another very special guest this week. Who are we talking with this week?
This is Finn.
Okay, and what did you do with Finn? Because
So Finn is he's just a good example of why we preach being proactive, especially in certain breeds. And so he actually came from the shelter, which is
Really?
amazing. Yep, and he is a double-digit kid. Got some Shepherd, got some Labrador in him, and he's actually we've done both his knees as well, and he is somebody that we recommended with the family. We see them very often, and they have a number of pets, and we've kind of gone through some things, and we said, you know what? We've talked about spleens before in big dogs, and we said, you know, we're going to do a fast scan. We're going to do a quarterly ultrasound, limited ultrasound, just to make sure that we don't see anything significant. And typically with our spleens, we are finding that 5 seconds with an ultrasound. And people say, well, I did annual blood work, and not always is that going to show unless there's a actual problem like ongoing, and so you can miss it. You know, and these guys got deep chests, they've got ribs that come back, and that spleen sometimes hides up there, up above those rib cage. So sometimes it's difficult to palpate. And obviously, a 3-pound tumor on the spleen doesn't start as a 3-pound tumor; starts as a little circle, and then works its way up. And so, I think April 30th of last year, I did a fast scan on Finn, and it was negative. So he did not have a tumor on his spleen, and so we sent him home. And by Memorial Day, of course, a holiday, he is kind of weak, lethargic. He had a tumor on his spleen that was very small that had ruptured, and it was bleeding. And so he came in, we were on call, we got him into surgery, we removed that spleen and sent it out. And as we've talked before, there's some not so good differentials with the spleen. And so that spleen came back as hemangiosarcoma, which is a big fancy $300,000 word for a sarcoma cancerous malignancy of that spleen. Typically, remember, that was May 25th. Here we are in March. So 10 months. The median survival time for this is 87 days. And he's out 240 on today's filming. Or even more. And so what we did beyond that is, one, we know we caught it early. And so we already felt confident that he was going to have a little more time with us. And it made us make the decision to say, hey, we're going to do chemo. So we did 5 rounds of chemo with him. The recommended chemo for it's called doxorubicin for hemangiosarcoma. There's also 2 things that we have the owner do, and they've been great. They've done everything we've asked, and that's why Finn looks as good as he does today. He's actually up in weight, as we found out today. And so he's out, again, all these days because of advocacy, doing the diagnostics that are specific to his breed where we feel like we could find the biggest problem. We found the problem. We got it out of there early, so we had a better chance at survival. And then now, it's all yours, man.
Wow.
He is the longest living dog after a splenectomy we've ever had. And that's sucks to hear, like 250 days. That's not all that long, obviously in our world, but 90 is a third of that. And so we're just so happy to have him around, obviously, today, and thought he would be his story can make a difference in a lot of other people's lives, because not a lot of people think, oh, I got my blood work, they did an annual exam, that's enough. There are other things tailored to different breeds, cats, dogs, whatever, where we say, hey, instead of this blood work, we want to do this test, catch it, and then be able to spend more time with this kid.
Okay, Doc, is that chemo to cure, or is it to just buy time?
So most chemos on cancer of dogs and cats is to manage and to buy us time, and that's what we've definitely done with this kid. There are occasional cures out there. We've talked about Addie. We're talking 3 years out compared to 3 to 6 months, and so here, again, we're triple the time that we thought we were going to get, and so obviously every day is a blessing, and so so it's more for management, but hey, it doesn't matter to the individual. The statistics don't, and Finn's obviously proof of that.
Is this type of cancer something that you have to keep an eye on, or will it come back? I should ask.
It will come back.
Okay.
It will rear its head at some point, but right now it's static. And again, we're out so long that we're just blessed to have him each and every day. They're spoiling him. Again, he's up in weight, which is great, and he's really, really happy very energetic, crazy boy, which is exactly what he wants to do for the rest of his life.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Great story. Thanks for sharing, Doc.
Of course,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Of
All
course.
right. Stay with us next week as we bring you another edition of Pet Doc.